This is Praveen here. We still, I think this is the right time, but looks like people are still joining. So let's give another minute or two for them. Thank you. While waiting for the others to join, I would like to launch a poll. Please answer it. All right. I think we are at 11:02, so probably we'll start. Still, I think voting is going on, so let's give another minute for everyone to vote. Okay, all right. Once again, welcome everyone. Today's webinar is SAP PI PO 7.4 features and upgrade considerations. So I'm your host today. I'm Praveen Sabbavarpu. I'm working as a SAP Solution Advisor and Delivery Manager. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who joined this webinar, and especially our Director for SAP NetWeaver practice, Mr. Amir Sohail, who has taken his time from his busy schedule to share his experience on SAP PI PO upgrades with us. So I will not take too much of your time. So, but before I hand it over to Mr. Amir, I would like to walk you through, what is ProSoft and what we offer to our customers. So ProSoft was founded in 1995. And we have strategic partnerships with SAP and IBM. So we have our practice areas is divided into like business enterprise solutions, where the complete SAP business suite comes under that, and then business integration, where we have this PI, PO, and some other non-SAP applications like IBM WebSphere 2, and business analytics, where we focus mainly upon SAP business analytics alone. So with it can be HANA Analytics, BI, BO, business warehouse, so all these things. And we also have business support services where we provide professional services like staff augmentation. And we have more than 350 associates globally who are experienced about 8+ years on an average. So coming to the next one, we have an industry focus, which is mainly, the first one is retail is our main focus, and then process industries, mainly with process manufacturing. And also we have customer strategic focus, like we have customers in with wholesale distribution, consumer products, high-tech, utilities, so where we have a specific focus. And then coming to the technologies, as I've already mentioned about, we have a gamut of services under SAP Business Suite, which covers every across the board all the components under the SAP Business Suite. And we have practice under BW, BOJ, and then HANA. Specific to HANA, we have services under Business Suite powered by HANA, at the same time BW powered by HANA, along with that HANA Enterprise Cloud. And coming to the mobility, on enterprise mobility, we provide services under SAP Mobility Platform 3 and SAP NetWeaver Gateway. So covering native apps applicable for iOS and Android, at the same time web apps and hybrid apps. So where which are nothing but like device agnostic. So you don't need to worry about the operating system. You don't need to worry about the device. As long as it is a smartphone or iPad or some other tablet, you are good to use those apps. And finally, we have practice under e-commerce with major focus on Hybris. Though we have another tools like IBM WebSphere Commerce, but our major focus is on Hybris. As SAP acquired that, and everybody is trying to align with that one, and SAP is going to coming up with a lot of integration with it. So it does make sense to have our focus on Hybris too. So coming to the SAP Lifecycle Services, we have these Phase 2+ services, which we will discuss in the next slide. So the Phase 2+ services, those start after your first step of the implementation. What I would say is like, you have implemented SAP. So it can be a couple of modules, or you might have implemented as a full-blown implementation as a single phase. So after that starts like, your stabilization process. So that is where we are strong at. We help our customers with that. Most of the customers face challenges at that phase. So it can be with solution optimization, or it can be with performance optimization, or some of the things that are not working as expected. So these things that come into the picture. So stabilization is the core area where we enter to help you guys. And then from there on, once we stabilize it, the next transition will be like solution extension flow. Okay, we have this one now. We are acquiring another company, or we would like to launch a new product, or we would like to have another feature included into this, or our business process is changing. So like this. So probably there might be a business process reengineering. So like this, different things can happen. So where you need your solution to be extended to accommodate those new business challenges or requirements. Then rollouts, like I've already talked about acquisition. So it can be a new company acquisition, or in your initial phase you have implemented it to the corporate office, and probably one plant or two plants. Now you have multiple plants to roll out to, or multiple locations, or multiple countries. So depending on the requirements, we help you guys with the rollouts. And then reporting. Okay, as I mentioned, like in the first blown implementation, you might have implemented only the core ECC component or CRM component, probably. So the next step could be your business reporting requirements, OLAP, so after OLTP. So that is another area. Or then another one is like, you have your SAP landscape running on traditional database. So now the requirement is to move into a faster and more stable environment, which is HANA environment. Then application implementation, like, okay, you have implemented ECC, core ECC, now you need PPM or CRM, EWM, or some additional components of SAP, or you would like to go with e-commerce, hybris. So these are the areas where we are very strongest at, and we have proven track record. So, I mean, with that, I'm good with the introduction of our services. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the questions tab of the right side control panel. Thank you, guys. Amit, I request you to take over, please.
Okay. Thanks, Praveen. My name is Amir Sohail, and I lead the SAP PI practice at ProSoft. Today's presentation will be dealing primarily with the PO 7.4, but it is applicable to PO or PI 7.3 as well. We will be going over the B2B and PGP features which are provided to you in 7.4. We will go over the Eclipse-based solution. Instead of NWD, instead of swing-based clients, you could use NWDS, and the PO upgrade considerations. So if you are on 7.0 or XI 3.0 or anything like that, we will be able to help you out with upgrading your PI system to PO or PI. So having said that, let's move on to the first slide. First of all, most of you may have some B2B integrations going on. The first thing which we see is B2B is outside the control of SAP, right? It's managed by multiple different applications or groups. You could have CIDX, you have PIDX, you have CX12, you have EDI Facts. So all these different organizations actually control the B2B landscape, and that makes things fairly complicated. So you need to have a solution which will work for different types of B2B structures, and your systems are not homogeneous. So you have a system which could be running on SAP, and the partner might be using some other solution. Obviously, the integration has to go over the internet, so you need to look at the security considerations, whether you want the message to be encrypted, or you want the channel over which the communication is going to be encrypted, or you want a VPN in between. All those security considerations have to be taken care of. And your technical connectivity, obviously, there are multiple options in which you can connect. You could do SFTP, you could do FTPS, you could do AS2. So all those things, depending upon what you are doing, we need to look at. And then a new standard comes up, and we have to adapt our current process to be able to handle that new standard or new version of an existing standard. You need to be able to dictate communication standards, and you have business partners who are all sizes. You could have a big company, or you could have a small one, and they all could be using the same B2B or maybe a different B2B communication protocol. So all of these, and then obviously the time to develop this and onboard new customers. All these things are basically challenges which we face in a typical B2B environment. And in order to help with these issues, SAP has provided to us several B2B features within 7.3 and 7.4. You can also get them on 7.1 if you are at a certain support pack. Depending upon what you are doing, you need to put different support packs on 7.1. But for 7.3 and 7.4, it's pretty much available out of the box. You don't need to put the SDAs on, but it's available for you. These right here are the high-level capabilities which are provided to you in terms of B2B. You have message level encryption to secure the message content. By that, you could encrypt your data via PGP. Nobody can read the data when it's PGP encrypted. You could have a transport level encryption in which you can secure the communication channel over which the message is going, and that can be implemented through FTPS or HTTPS. You can also do SFTP. You can do HTTPS for the data XML, encryption. You could have web service security. You can use all the WS standards over there. We have support for AS2 available as well. And then obviously it supports pretty much most of the B2B standards like EDI Fact, CX12, Tradacom, Swift, all those stuff. So pretty much you get one comprehensive package on SAP PO/PI, which will support all of these things. The PGP and the SFTP modules are available free of cost. The AS2 and the other B2B modules need to be purchased via additional license. Now, PO capabilities in terms of encryption. So we did talk about PGP encryption, which is available free of cost, that you can download from SAP and from Marketplace, and you can use it to do basically three things. You can encrypt your message, in which all you have to do is you just encrypt the data and don't really care about anything else. You have different encryption modules which you can use for algorithms. For example, AES 128, 192, Blowfish, Cas5, all these stuffs. So by default, you could use them, or you could specify which one you really want to use. You can sign the message as well. So some customers, they want to encrypt the message with the public key of the partner, but they also want to sign the message with their own private key. So there is like an extra level of authentication on it. So you can sign the message as well, and you can compress it. So if you have a huge file and you want to encrypt and compress to a smaller file, you can compress it, and that will be that would give you a zip, zlib, or a bzip2 file. All these standards are supported by SAP. In terms of your decryption capabilities, decryption is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is just specify your private key and the passphrase, and whenever a partner sends you an encrypted message, the decryption module will basically identify what kind of algorithm you are using, and based upon that algorithm, it's going to take care of all the setups internally. You could also have a decrypt and verify, wherein the partner can sign the message in addition to encrypting it, and that will basically allow you to authenticate whether this encrypted message is coming in from a trusted vendor partner, or it could be somebody else using your public key to encrypt the message. So you can decrypt a message, and you can decrypt and verify through the signing whether the message came in from a dedicated partner or maybe somebody else just sent it to you. So these are different encryption and decryption capabilities which are provided to you by SAP, and these all work in the public key private key pair. So you have to generate your public key and private key pair, and keep the private key with you, and give the public key to any of your vendors, and they will do the same thing. They will generate a key pair and keep the private key with them, and give the public key to you, and you can use that to encrypt the message. So the next one is, excuse me, the new ones which are available in PO are file adapter transfers of very large message size. So basically, the amount of file size which you can transfer through PI so far was fairly limited. It depends on the hardware size which you have. Obviously, the bigger hardware you have, the more file you can transfer. But with the new PO 7.4, they are giving you mechanism through which you can transfer the file in little chunks mode. So when you configure that, PI will get the file, excuse me, PI will get the file and split that file into multiple smaller files. And the receiver channel or receiver adapter will combine these little chunks into one big file. So instead of, let's say you have a 100 meg file which you want to transfer, so instead of sending the whole 100 meg, it can make smaller chunk, let's say of 10 meg. So it's going to make 10 files, each of 10 meg on the center adapter, and the receiver will combine these together into a 100 meg file. Now the limitation with that is because you are splitting the file into smaller pieces, you cannot do any kind of message mapping on that because you don't have the complete data. You only have a subset of data. So this is good in cases where, let's say, you have a mainframe process already running which is transferring the file, but you want to better manage and monitor that mainframe process. You want to have one place from where all communications go through. In that case, you can use the very large file transfer mode. You can just move the files from one place to another and monitor everything within PI. and not worry about keeping track of logs and sending emails if something fails. All those stuff are taken care by PI already. The second one is HTTP adapter supports HTTP GET. So far, HTTP was only supporting HTTP POST, which is something which most of the customers use. But HTTP GET is a newer variant of HTTP communication. In this, you can transfer the message in a request-response pair. So within the whole URL, you can have employee number, employee name, all those steps can go within the URL. So PI HTTP adapter now supports HTTP GET. Publish subscribe is another new feature. In that, what you could do is you could use JMS adapter to publish a document, and then you can have any of the vendors subscribe to it. And as soon as you publish a document, they will get they will get the latest version of the document. So that's something which was not available, but is now available with the latest PI release and with some support packs on the existing servers as well. PI FTP adapter was already supporting FTP and FTPS since past. Now it also supports SFTP. For SFTP, you get an extra adapter, and you can configure that adapter to use SFTP, which is really FTP on SSH. SFTP adapter is free of cost, and it comes along with the PGP adapter, PGP module. So you can download both of them from SAP Marketplace, and you can start making use of those. The other ones, SAP is providing you B2B adapters for AS2, OFTP X400, and they support EDI FACT, NCX12, VDA, Datacoms, and OData. AS2, OFTP, X400, all these B2B adapters are actually, you need to pay extra license for that. They are not free of cost like SFTP and PGP are, but the licensing fee is pretty comparable with the other third-party adapters like Advantco or Seaburger or anything like that. So, and you get one single system where you can deploy all the B2B and non-B2B adapters and make use of those. Inbuilt support for PGP encryption and decryption that goes along with the PGP. You don't need to worry about getting any third-party adapter or adapter module or writing your own custom module for that. You can use this by default. It does not come pre-installed on 7.1.1, so you need to install some additional SDA files. Similarly, for 7.3 and 7.4, you can just install those SDA files, and those files basically give you the option to start using PGP encryption and decryption. You have the ability to ping adapters. So pinging the adapter basically tells you whether a channel is active, inactive, or stopped, and the ping can work from a browser. So let's say you have any application, maybe a web-based application in .NET or Java, and you want to check whether all your communication channels for a certain business system are working or not. So you can use that ping facility to see what's the status of each of the channels. So that's a pretty nice feature in which you can use one big web service or web page to check all the channels in a single shot. You don't have to worry about going to each and every channel and finding out. Blacklisting of message, that's also a nice feature. As you might be aware, that PI supports transfer of messages in a sequence called exactly once in order. What that means is the messages will go in a certain queue, and if one of them gets stuck, it's going to block the whole queue because you really want to make sure they are processed in a certain order. Well, what happens is, sometimes these messages, they block the other messages as well. And when that happens, your other interfaces get impacted by this exactly once in order. So blacklisting of a message will remove that one error out message from the queue and basically open up the queue again so that the other processes can continue to work while you can take care of fixing the issue with the failure message. So that's something which you can do as well. And you have enhanced search capabilities. So with this new search capabilities, you can search the message not just based upon the interface name or the execution date or business system name, but you can also search based upon the let's say for IDOCs, you can search based upon the IDOC number, IDOC name, message types, all those stuffs. You can also configure XPath kind kind of search through which you can search any message based upon some predefined criteria. Let's say you have invoices going out and you want to search based upon the vendor number or vendor name or invoice amount. So you can configure all these search criteria, and as these invoices go back and forth, PI will keep a log of these search criteria. And you can just go in and say, okay, show me all the invoices which came in from this vendor, or show me all the invoices which are more than $10,000. It's going to give you all those parameters. This has to be configured. The skeleton for this comes out of the box, but you need to specify based upon what parameter of the XML files you want to search. So once this is defined, then any message flowing after that definition will be indexed as per those search criteria. The next one is Eclipse-based support. So with PO 7.4, what SAP has done is they are giving you one single place from where you can do all the Java-based development. As you may be aware of, PI is slowly moving towards a single stack environment. There is a version already which runs parallelly to the dual stack, and that single stack version does pretty much everything what dual stack is doing. With NWDS, SAP is giving you one single place where you can develop your ESR, Enterprise Service Repository objects, integration directory objects. In ESR, you do your message mappings, data type, message types, all those stuffs. In integration directory, you can configure your communication channels. So, and in addition to these, let's say you want to do a Java mapping, or you want to build any web service. All of those could be done from NWDS. And NWDS really is Eclipse platform on which SAP has put the NWDS wrapper and provided to you. So NWDS connects to your PI server, and as you are creating objects in NWDS, you can see them in the swing-based ESR and ID clients, as well as when you create any object in swing-based clients, you can see them in NWDS. One thing which is available only in NWDS, is the iFlow. iFlow is similar to integrated configuration, ICO we used to call them. iFlows are similar to ICO, and but iFlows are a lot more advanced in that they give you pictorial representation of how your integrations are working. You have boxes for sender, receiver, and message mappings, and you can assign objects to each of these boxes and processes. So iFlows are the new ICOs, if you want to call them, for the Java-only version. And yeah, so you can pretty much develop everything in NWDS, and you can even monitor your PI messages and iFlows in NWDS. So you don't have to go to multiple screens to develop and monitor the PI integration. You can be in one place and do everything from that one place. SLD is still outside of NWDS. That has to be taken care of separately through swing-based clients, but ESR, ID, and monitoring can be done through NWDS. Upgrade options to PI 7.4. 7.4 has two types of servers. One is a dual stack where you have both ABAP and Java, and that's how 7.0 was, Xi 3.0 was, 7.1 was. It was a dual stack environment. So if you want to upgrade to 7.4 and you want to go to dual stack environment, you can do that. You get the features of both ABAP plus Java. It's going to be a pretty smooth upgrade from your existing server. If you are on 7.11, it's going to be a direct upgrade to 7.4 on the same server. You will still get all the features which you have in ABAP and Java, and you get the brand new server. Obviously, with the new server, you could use it in the Java-only mode, where you can develop everything through ICO or iFlow, and it will not go to the ABAP stack. And that will improve your message performance quite a bit. The other option is the single stack, wherein you migrate from the dual stack environment to the single stack. So you cannot upgrade your existing server from dual stack to single stack. You have to set up a parallel landscape of the single stack environment, and this parallel landscape will be running the Java-only version of PI, and you will migrate your existing integrations from dual stack to the single stack. Now, some features are not available because it is on Java only. So any feature which was using the above stack is not available on single stack. Some examples are CCBPM. So instead of CCBPM, which is based on above stack integration engine, a single stack is providing you NetWeaver BPM. But there is no migration path from CCBPM to NetWeaver BPM. So if you have developed something in CCBPM, you have to rewrite that in NetWeaver BPM. But if you have developed PI integrations, which have sender agreement, receiver agreement, all those stuffs, then that will be automatically converted to an ICO-based communication in the single stack, because in single stack you don't have anything like sender agreement, receiver determination, all those stuffs. It's one single ICO or iFlow that takes care of everything. So you basically miss out on the, you basically don't have the above stack. So if you have something on the above stack, you need to take care of those stuffs outside of the single stack Java version. It has to be done either through in some other above applications or rewritten in a Java-based platform. Obviously, with the single stack, you get a much smaller server because you don't have to install two stacks, and the system restart, system patching, all those things are pretty smooth and faster compared to the dual stack server. And the licensing cost for PO might be something which could change if you move from dual stack to single stack. So before you go on migrating from dual to single, just check with your SAP reps and make sure if your check if your licensing costs could be impacted by this one, because these are two different, even though they are really a new version of PI, but process orchestration, which is PO, is really a brand new server. So you might need to look at how licensing on that works compared to how PI was working. Excuse me. Having said that, why ProSoft? ProSoft is, we have a very strong technical, knowledge, expertise. I believe, Praveen went over all those stuff before, but we do have a Center of Excellence for SAP PI and ECC along with other components. We can quickly build a proof of concept for you. We can show you what you are doing and how you can improve that. We have different implementation models. So you have fixed price, we have end-to-end implementation, and we can definitely support your SAP PI/PO. With that, I would let Praveen speak up. I believe there might be some questions popping up. So, yep,
thank you, Amir. Yep, thanks, Amir. So if you have any questions, please type those questions in the right side control panel under the questions tab. So while we are waiting for the, I think looks like I have a question. That is from, give me a second, please. This is from Mr. Prem. So the question is, does searching IDOC using segment value available in single stack option?
Yeah, you can search IDOCs based upon single stack. By default, you can only search based upon the IDOC number, IDOC type. But if you configure the custom message-based search, you can search based upon any value of the IDOC, as well as you can search based upon the dynamic configuration values. So if you want to search based upon the file name, file directory, file size, you can search based upon that, as well as you can search based upon any value within the IDOC XML. But for any of these custom search, you need to predefine the search criteria. And once that is predefined, then only PI will index it based upon that search criteria. By default, it does not indexes all the values, so you have to predefine those criteria, and from that point on, you can search it.
Thanks, Amir. I have another question from Mr. Prem again. Do we have a proper testing tool in single stack as in dual stack? I mean test message in RWB.
That we don't have a straightforward tool as far as I'm aware of. I understand in dual stack we had a way in runtime workbench where you could go in and you could directly post a message to integration engine. So far in single stack, I've not seen something like that. There are workarounds which could be done, but those workarounds obviously are not as neat as the ones which is available in the dual stack.
Thanks, Amir. I have a question from Mr. Ravi Kanakam. How the third-party adapters migrated to PO 7.4?
So the third-party adapters, let's say you are using Advantco or Seaburger, there is no migration path for any of these third-party adapters to the SAP provided P2P adapters. You have to redo your configuration by using the SAP provided SFTP or AS2 adapters or PGP. The reason is all the third-party adapters, they could be using different mechanisms to do that B2B integration. So SAP has not provided that. But most of these use the industry standard implementations. So SAP's PGP will be fairly similar to the way, let's say, Advantco PGP or Seaburger PGP is running. So you should not have too much of issues in redoing your configuration. But there is no migration path, automatic migration path from any of the third-party adapters to PI B2B adapters.
Thanks, Amir. I had a question from Mr. Giridhar. Any known issues or gaps encountered for the Java IDOC adapter versus the ABAP IDOC adapter?
I'm not aware of any major issues. Obviously, there could be something which is really specific to a customer because the dual stack adapter runs on the integration engine. So you are moving that to the advanced adapter engine IDOC adapter. So obviously you need to look at the configuration. You cannot use RC destination SM59 for that. So you need to use the Java NWA based communication. I have not seen too many issues, but obviously it's something which might be specific to each customer. There's nothing which is like spread across all the implementations in the dual stack to single stack environment. But obviously there could be something which might be very specific to one customer. But overall, I have not seen too many issues in migrating from dual to single stack. Once you get the first adapter working on the single stack for IDOC, it should be pretty smooth sailing for all the other communications using the same adapters.
Thanks, Amir. I have a question from Ravi again. How the security and authorization roles work in PO?
Security and authorization works to use the Java user profiles. So in, I believe that's a question, in the dual stack we had SU01 where you can maintain all the users and their profiles. In the single stack, everything has to be done through the Java NWA. So in NWA, you have to go to user roles and you have to provision all the roles over there. There is no SU01, so you cannot have those roles defined over there. Everything has to come from the NWA user roles.
Thanks, Amir. I have a question from Mr. Pascal. If we go single stack, how to view the data in any custom table we would want to create in PI 7.4 DB, something equivalent to 16?
Okay, there is no comparable SE16 tables in single stack, because single stack is Java only, and there is no way directly in which you can make a table, which we could have done in SE16. And those are some of the criteria which you have to look at. SE16 tables, RFC lookup. One of them is called SNRO configuration, in which you get number range, the next sequential number if you want to use counter or something. All those stuffs are not available. The workaround is you have to create the SE16 table in an ECC system and then do a RFC lookup from PI for this SE16 table. But from the Java only version, in the Java only version, you cannot create a database table and use that to store data.
Thanks, Amir. Looks like those are the only questions that we have for today.
Okay.
Unless there are more questions, I think we can conclude this call. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thanks, Amir, for sharing your knowledge.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.